Oh yeah, so Zazie, welcome back. It's your Feel Good Breakfast Show, and we're making everybody feel good. And Renee jumped on that bandwagon right now, and she decided to make Carissa look even better right now. She gets her final glam glow up, and she's looking absolutely stunning. Chris, I forget how beautiful you actually are, but Renee really just elevating that look. And I gotta say, we work with some incredible people out here on your Feel Good Breakfast Show. I forget sometimes. So let me just move the steam out of the room right now and get back to business, because there's another steamy fellow that's just joined us. It's none other than JP Sebastian.
Steamy fellow, right?
Yes, bro. You have that effect on some people. Okay, believe it or not.
Sometimes you're a colorful man.
I believe in your handsomeness in that jawline, bro.
That's so sweet of you. I'm trying the royal ponytail. I can't get those dramatic streaks. But we'll get
the streaks, we gotta talk products. We'll talk that later, but let's talk the real reason why you're here, man. 2024 favorites from JP. These are hyped titles. But what are we hyping up here exactly?
Oh, are we on the hyped title segment?
Yeah, unless I've jumped I've jumped the gun.
That's okay.
I apologize.
So what we're looking at here
I
is
got
basically
excited.
These are JP's favorites from the year, and some provisos about this is that obviously South Africa doesn't get all the movies from 2024. You know, we don't get to see the big festivals in the United States and stuff like that. So the list I've chosen, it's only stuff that was released here that you as viewers could have seen yourself too. And these were some that were close to my heart.
Awesome. All right, so Woman of the Hour, first on the list.
And so what's really impressive about this one is this was Anna Kendrick's directorial debut.
Okay.
Obviously an actress
Yes.
who's been in musicals, who's been in dramatic things, who's been in comedies. But
And
she's
now
such
wants
a
another
dynamic
challenge.
human being that took on the challenge of doing a murder thriller. And very impressive. One of the great things about having actors as directors sometimes is that you rarely sometimes get to see actors cook. It's like, obviously, while she ticks a lot of the boxes with the visuals and how impressive it is with its tension and all that kind of stuff, it's just great. Sometimes the other actor is Daniel Zovato, who I think is a bit of a newcomer, but he does like psychopathic murderer in a terrifying way. So it's kind of great, like I said, to see two great actors really, like I think they focus in on and they lock in on the acting aspect very well.
And Anna Kendrick is like so unassuming. Like, the role she plays, it's always so like nonchalant, like no real effort, but yet she is so talented.
Sometimes she's so happy to do like be goofy as well.
Yeah.
And so what she's doing here in a strange way as well is deconstructing a lot of the mythology that Hollywood women have to face. The true story, by the way, of a murderer who killed 130 people, not just deconstructing the struggles that Hollywood female actresses have to face, but also the movie, very interestingly, it's not your average murder thriller, really trying to deconstruct the way we consume true crime and stuff like that. But that was one of my favorites. That would be my number 5 of the smaller gems. We'll talk about the blockbusters later.
Sure, number 4 on the list, I saw the TV Glow. I haven't heard of this, bro.
Exactly. So these are the tiny movies that we really couldn't give a chance to because they really didn't get much breathing room in SA because they were
amongst all the other
much bigger blockbusters.
Yeah.
So of course you'll remember this actor. His name's Justice Smith.
Yes, Justice Smith alongside Bridget Lundy Payne.
You might have seen him. I think he was in some of the Jurassic World movies, the recent. But like it was such an inventive. I don't know if some of you guys miss, there was a movie called, it was starring Jake Gyllenhaal, oh my goodness, I can't believe, Donnie Darko.
Oh, yeah.
Where you're not sure if you're watching a horror, you're not sure if you're watching a suspense.
Yes.
Sometimes give us a movie that's a bit trippy, man. Who makes the rules about what a movie should be? That, it's got first act, third act, and then the resolve, and everyone goes, Avengers assemble. And you know how it ends, and sometimes those movies are fine.
We want those rules broken every now and then.
Sometimes you need a bit. I think this movie suffered, however, in that I think it was advertised a bit too much like it was going to be a horror, a bit too much like Stranger Things, but actually it was a really heartfelt sort of like examination of mental illness and stuff like that.
Interesting. All right.
Really well worth it.
Catching us off guard perhaps as well. All right. Next on the list, number 3, we've got The Zone of Interest.
So Americans will think we're weird for talking about a movie that won the Oscar already. This came out last year in America.
Yes, of course.
Came out in South Africa in February. This was the one where you saw that amazing speech by director Jonathan Glazer.
Yes.
Where he had the bravery to say that he refutes his Jewishness being co-opted by an occupier state. I mean, you're a bit silly if you couldn't see the parallels between the Holocaust and the genocide in Palestine right now. And again, speaking, like I just said about I Saw the TV Glow, who makes the rules about what a movie should be? Man, sometimes we're such grazers. We're lazy grazers sometimes with movies. Demand more sometimes, you know.
You get complacent, man,
like, sure, I know you want to escape sometimes, guys. I know life can be hard, but sometimes Let a movie transport you, and that is so important, especially with a movie that deals with deluding yourself, where obviously, you know, the story here is that these Nazis tried to force this idea of a white picket fence suburb right next to Auschwitz. And so the movie is a large examination. The story does not age at all because right now we're in the midst of a genocide. And hey, people are still talking about movies on a TV show. How can Earth show any more urgency? Like Jonathan Glazer said at the Oscars, how do we resist? We don't know the answers, but maybe one of the answers is doing something a bit different in culture, in media. Next movie.
Yeah, man. And next on the list, obviously, with movies being the opportunity for us to look beyond the veil and see more within ourselves, I think that's why we're talking about it now. The Holdovers, number 2.
Speaking, a bit more about like looking, and again, this is a movie that was at the Oscars. I think it got 6 nominations. It won for Divine Joy Randolph, who did an amazing performance in here. One of the great things about the performances in The Holdovers is that often when we see drama, we like if actors can go to 11, go really intense.
Go hard, yeah.
Sure, but sometimes life isn't like that. If Ryle and JP have an argument, there's a lot of restraint, there's a lot of variables, and there's a lot of ways that we're dancing around the daisies to say the truth. You know,
Biting our tongues.
Exactly. And so she does that amazingly in this, and I think that's pretty characteristic of the director, Alexander Payne. Go watch his other movies as well. Don't watch Nebraska. That was kind of butts, as far as JP's concerned. But Alexander Payne has a good record otherwise. Obviously, Paul Giamatti was nominated. Divine Joy Randolph, like I just said, rightfully won the Oscar for supporting actress. And good grief, Dominic Sessa, who's a high school student before this movie. This is his first movie.
Really?
Wasn't nominated, but what an incredible performance he does in this. So it's great sometimes seeing a movie that's just, sometimes things are uncomplicated, that you're watching a slice of the life of humans. It looks like it's a coming-of-age buddy type thing, but it's a very healing movie. Like it's sometimes rare that a movie feels like it's healing a hurt in your heart. But
the kind of movies we need in our lives. Listen, bro, this is an incredible list, but we have to go to numero uno, Furiosa, a Mad Max saga.
Preposterous that I'm calling this a small gem. Do you know why I'm calling this
a small gem,
because
inverted commas?
In South African box office, same as in American box office, this movie only made 3.2 million rand in South Africa. For perspective, you compare, say, Deadpool and Wolverine, which made 50 million rand in South Africa.
Oh, whoa.
This only made 3 million.
Like 10%
and it is
of it.
Gorgeous. It is one of the most beautiful action movies that you'll see in a long time. Naturally, it's George Miller. It's the guy who made the Fury Road with Tom Hardy and Charlize Theron. What went wrong in the marketing of this? Like I said, it wasn't just South Africa. In the American box office as well, it completely flopped. But again, I just need movies to try and be more, to stretch the lens, to stretch the eye. And even in this movie, like I had for another movie that I'll talk about later, I don't want to spoil. Obviously, people know which one I'm going to be talking about. It's also in the desert, maybe on another planet. There were moments in this movie where I felt like, good grief, you can do that with a camera? I feel like I'm levitating in my movie seat. Let a movie transport you. And South Africans didn't, for whatever reason. Like I said, you have Deadpool and Wolverine. You have Inside Out 2, which was very good, that made, I think, 31 billion rand across the world.
Gosh.
And this movie only made, like, a fraction. Like I said.
And especially considering the actual, like, gravity of its title as well. That's crazy stuff.
Being a prequel to Fury Road, it's
Hey, man, JP, you come into
support
it.
it. Find a way to watch
list.
it. Please try and watch these. And also share with us on social media, like, if you think that there's small gems that I should have seen as well. I really would like that list.
Brilliant stuff. JP Sebastian will not be going anywhere. We've got more from him in just a bit, so you have to do nothing. Don't go anywhere, and we're going to be touching up with Zanele once again and find out what's happening on your side, my lady.